What's poppin'? Happy New Year. In this video, I'm going to take you through my process of developing a marketing and branding strategy. So, if you don't know and you're new to the channel, I'm Quintel Harcum. I founded Good Parting Company, a plant-based health cafe and juice bar located here in Baltimore. That juice bar went on to become the first juice bar at the campus of Johns Hopkins University. I had 2 locations, scaled them to $720,000 with my partnership in Johns Hopkins. Since then, I've been doing AI and marketing consulting for other small businesses. Now, when I pivoted out of my juice bar, I went on and did some consulting, or I'll keep it real. I attempted to do marketing consulting for other like cafes, juice bars, and small shops. The problem is, a lot of small shops don't have great budgets. So I had to pivot my business for a year so I can generate real revenue before I got back into trying to work with other restaurants. So I was recently tapped to do a marketing proposal for a local food spot here in Baltimore County. Okay, so I'm going to show you my market, how I put together marketing strategies for food and beverage businesses and businesses in general. Now, my main strategy and what was successful for me in Good Parting Company is founder-led marketing, and it's kind of based on what I actually did, all of the steps I took from launching from my living room to actually having 2 locations. Okay, now everybody's not going to want to do that plan, but there's some things I can pull out and actually implement into other people's businesses, and that's what I'm going to do for this spot. So let's get started. Now, the spot that we're working on is called the Original Chicken Box. I don't have this deal yet. My uncle knows the owner, so he connected us because he knew that I did marketing, and so as a good uncle, he wanted to see his nephew win, so he put me on. I talked to the gentleman, and I said, you know what, I'm going to shoot you over a proposal, and this is not just social media management. And before we even start, I want to explain that. So social media management was a thing. It still is a thing, but the value of it has gone down because we have AI. People don't really understand it. Social media is a full-time job. Just posting is not the same as coming up with the strategy, creating all of the content that goes along with a really effective social media strategy. How do I know? Because I did it all myself. I only got up to 4,300 followers or so. That don't matter because we got to a 6-figure business, and that's what it's all about. I didn't have one post go viral, but everything cut through, and it was all about acquiring customers, specifically repeat customers, because you need people to continue to come back to your food and beverage spot, right? Or to whatever your business is. Repeat customers are gold. All right, so now let's get started with the Original Chicken Box. So I have his website. I went to his website. Really, he told me he had just did the website over, so the website is really nice. This is a lot better than a lot of people's food websites. Now the thing is, his ultimate goal is to get people to order directly from him instead of having people order from DoorDash and Uber Eats, because those things are taxing. I had to go through it. You know, I didn't mind. It's great. It gets you reach, and people are very used to using it. So it's an exchange of expanding your market versus your margins. Okay, I like that, right? Your market versus your margins. So he has his new website, but look, social media, nothing on Instagram at all, and nothing over on TikTok either. He doesn't have his own page. So I went through everything and I said, well, what would I do? So let me show you what Good Parting Company's page looks like real quick. Now here's the page for a Good Parting Company. Okay, you're gonna see me all up and down this page. And so I leveraged my personal brand, or built a personal brand. That's what actually made this business successful. And everybody's not gonna do this. He's an older gentleman. I don't know that he's gonna be into I don't think that he has trying to be on camera and things like that, but that's all good. We're going to build this joint up. But I'm just showing you exactly what I did with Good Parting Company. So I was everywhere all of the time, setting up photo shoots. You can see here we got a lot of visuals, right? So my background is in graphic design, specifically graphic design for fashion. So I did fashion design, and you can see here we had I did a lot of merchandise. That's where you see these Good Part sweatshirts, hats, t-shirts, tote bags, all that type of good stuff. Designed for the graphics and the supplies and the plasticware. All right, so cool. You see what I did here, right? I would like to do something like this for his Instagram. This right here is going to be a part of the strategy. A lot of BTS. Like, that's what really gets people into the story of any business, right? But especially in food and beverage, it's so visceral. With food and beverage, what food and beverage does and why people are so drawn to it, whether you want to start your own restaurant or cafe, or if you like doing food reviews, is that it's multi-sensory. It hits on all 5, right? So visual, you can see here. Touch, right? You have to touch the food, you taste the food. Sound, like, you know what it sounds like to cook, but when you have things like what I had here, we used to control the sound out in the cafe. So we would have good music. So these gentlemen right here, they were part of the student body at Hopkins. So sound, right? You got the good music, you got the vibes flowing, right? And then the last thing is scent. So the aroma, right? If you got a chicken spot, people walk in, smell French fries, they smell fried chicken. They're gonna love it. In my case, we pressing fresh juice. You smell fresh squeezed lemons. I also had aromatherapy going on in my first store. So the whole store smelled like lavender or orange pills and all those types of things. So I don't know that they got this going on at the original chicken box, but I'm gonna implement this to the best that I can for the strategy. I saw there's no social media here. So what I did was I took the notes first and I outlined a marketing opportunity. So none of this is a criticism. It's all just what are the opportunities where we can grow. So I went to his Google business page. So I went to his Google business profile first. The Google business profile is solid. The opportunity I see here, like I see for most restaurants, is that most of their photos are user generated. That's good, but you need to control the narrative of every part of your business. So you want to have your own photos here. Like some people are going to get into this. That's not my taste. Like I don't want to see half-eaten food. It's not sexy. It's very, very unappealing. I don't know why people would. You don't want this to be the first representation that people come across for your business. You want high quality photos. Okay. If you have to use stock imagery, okay, no, that's better than this as the first photos. But you do want to see some user generated photos. So here they have photos of their menu. Here we could do a better job with these. And then if you want to see the full menu, that's what we're looking at here. Here we go. These images. So these are some of the stock images. These are borrowed directly from the website to some degree. They got good packaging. So you need to highlight these kind of things. This might not even be their packaging. This is their packaging, the original chicken box. Okay, so they got some high quality photos. This is not even stock. This is actually a professional photograph. I know because I've had these shot for my restaurant. Same thing here. This could be some kind of stock image. This is a good photo here. So we see that they got photos, but what we want to do is, this is from DoorDash. We don't want DoorDash taking over our business. So we want to come in. That's the first opportunity. Update the Google business profile. They got all of the info you need here, the hours and all that good stuff. We want to make sure everything else here is great. If they want to order for pickup, you want to have the option to order directly from their business. Whatever their option is, we can put that here instead of DoorDash, along with DoorDash and Grubhub. And then you want to improve the photos. So that's the first thing I got here. Now, the second thing I saw is that we got to get some traction to these social media pages, right? So we can't just post and think it's going to be good. We got to get traction to this. So the second opportunity I see is to do a lot of food reviews. So they can hire somebody in-house to do food reviews, or they can go and pay the foodies. They can go and pay the food influencers to come through the restaurant and do reviews. And I already know some things that I would do. I would do like top 5 reviews for everything related to what they have to their business. So top 5 chicken spots in Baltimore County, top 5 chicken spots in Owens Mills, top 5 in Baltimore City, top 5 chicken recipes for around the country, top 5 French fry recipes. These things are related to their business. This is kind of like blog content, but you can convert that into carousels for Instagram, for TikTok. Okay, so you could use that and leverage that type of content on social media. You just got to reformat it, right? So that's an idea that could be repurposed. Now, for Instagram, the next opportunity, this is the third opportunity, we are going to update their IG profile. So we're going to get them some content, and we are going to follow the Good Part rulebook. So if we go up here, I have tips on how to do this. So just really quick, these are original stories from Good Part. I was updating my branding and offering a different thing. So I deleted some of my old stories and I started adding case studies and things to show how you go about branding a food business using my founder-led content method. Now, this is the first thing you need to do for their business. Here we go. How to create an Instagram bio that converts. We are going to jump in and we are going to give them that Instagram bio. So we need to update all of these things. We need to update their handle, their headline, the profile picture. Profile picture is cool. Let me pause it right here. Profile picture is cool. The title, we want to make some of this searchable on Instagram. So you want to use some SEO keywords. So right here where they just have the same name, their handle, the original chicken box. And then here for the name and the title, we can change that over to like chicken or whatever. And then here they have the address. That's all good. But there's actually an opportunity to just make that address link. And then we could use this digital real estate for keywords or some kind of tagline, and then we want to add highlights here, breaking down their menu and things so they have an opportunity to share their menu. Another good thing about putting highlights here, in each highlight we could put a link to a place to order. So now if somebody's going through the menu and they actually, people eat with their eyes, or if they like what they see, they can just click right there, right? So you want to make it as easy as possible for people to purchase and get into, buy whatever you're selling. Also, there's an opportunity here to add a contact or a order button on Instagram. So you don't normally see it on the desktop version, but on the mobile version, you can just order directly. If somebody's just on the profile page, they can order as well. So we want to add that there. So there's a lot of opportunity for Instagram. Now, we go through this, we're going to get their posts, we're going to get their highlights, we're going to update the profile. They also need a TikTok page. So they don't have their own TikTok page. So I looked it up, and here it is. So they don't have their own TikTok page. The good thing is they have user-generated content reviews for the original chicken box. This is great. This is going to allow us to develop a strategy around this, but when you go to users, they don't have their own page. So we're going to do a page, and we're going to launch a campaign around this. So I have a strategic campaign where the people who did the most recent reviews on this, we're going to tap into them. We're going to hit them up and say, hey, first we're going to set up our page. We're going to comment on their post, and we're going to say, hey, thanks for, making this post. I liked her review. She had a 7-minute review. It was a pretty long review, but that's good, right? And then that's the thing. All we got to do is tell them to come back, and we give them some free food. Just do a review and tell them to tag us and talk, they already talking about us. But this one got the most likes. So we're going to hit this person up, see what they got going on. They may be a food reviewer, so let's go check out the page. So most of marketing, it comes down to doing research first. This person has 30,000 followers. So she may want to charge. So we might see what our rates are. Most influencers undercharge. I already know this because I do a lot of marketing. I understand. I know what's going on out there in the marketing space. But you see she has a lot of food reviews here. And we'll just hit her up and say, hey, we did a review on this. We appreciate it. Would you be willing to do another one? We'll comp you on some meals, and it might just straight up for me, I would offer some money first. What's this worth to me? I would say $100 to do a post, just straight up off the rip. And then if they come back and say, hey, they need more, then maybe we can negotiate. But really, I think that'd be good. Plus, whatever we comp them. So that's going to get us some traction on TikTok. Same thing on Instagram, okay? And so those are the opportunities I see. We run that UGC campaign for TikTok and for Instagram. And then the last part of the strategy is we do some behind the scenes content. So telling the stories over on Instagram and TikTok is going to be great. So the BTS content is going to be about the person who owns the business, the founder. If they have a face of the business that they want to have a face of the business, that's all good. Talk about maybe the history of Owens Mills. This whole area has just been redeveloped. It used to be the mall, so everybody knows it for where the mall used to be. You could also do a user-generated content around all of the shops that are in that area. That's another thing that could be good for like a blog, or just creating more traction around things that people care about in the area. I would also, I don't have no problem giving away the ideas, right? Because they either gonna pay me for it or they not. But I will also, instead of just like, this is fluff. Like this, where crispy fried chicken meets fluffy waffles. That's great. Chicken and waffles, we get it. But you can simplify that. See the icons? I love it. Chicken, waffles, we get it. But I would niche this down by region and location. #1 chicken box spot in Owens Mills. If you want to go out a little bit more, #1 chicken box spot in Baltimore County. I'm not going to put myself on the same tier as Baltimore City, right? Because they already have super popular places that people are really biased for. Sonny's, for Royals, for Stoko's, things like that, right? I know because I'm in the city. That's why they should hire me to do this. But instead of competing with them, I would maybe do reviews on them, talk about why it's so good, why ours is so good. But the opportunity is a bit of a blue ocean to say we are the best chicken in Baltimore County, specifically Owens Mills or West Baltimore County. You name it. If you create your own category, you can be #1 in it. That's what I would deliver to them. So these are all the things that I'm going to put down in the proposal. I went over and I prepped a document here. So I'm going to write down everything I just said and share it with you on this document. And then I'm going to shoot a quick Loom style video to go over everything I just said, but I'm going to do it in like a minute or two, right? Versus the 15 that I just spent here with you. But that's how I go about doing some marketing strategy for food and beverage. Now, this is a food and beverage place that's local to, I spelled chicken box wrong. This is local to me, so I understand the terrain, but I also understand the industry, and I also understand how marketing works. So this could apply to any other local food shop anywhere in America, may possibly anywhere in the world. So what are the steps? So the first step is to review your Google business profile, review your social media profiles. Where can you make improvements? That's the first step. Start with your internet presence. You already got everything taken care of inside your shop. Start with what is your digital footprint. Do research. Then go see what's going on and what are people responding to or reacting to online. And that's what we did, like the TikTok reviews. And you could just search your name. You could search whatever you sell. So coffee, Baltimore, you could do that either on Google or you could do it directly on social media platforms so you can see what's working on each platform. That's what you do. Second, do the research. All right. First, look up your own stuff. What is your digital footprint? Second, do research to see what's resonating in your industry and in your region, city, location. Third thing you want to do is work on what is going to be your brand story. What are you going to be sharing? What's going to be the behind the scenes content? They already have a really good website. So from this website, you could extend a brand aesthetic. They got this darker red. They got the yellow. Reds and yellows. Reds are good for hunger. So it's already good, solid colors, right? So color psychology applies. But you want to start figuring out how can you develop your taste. How can you develop your brand presentation? And then how are you going to express that? That's what style is, right? The taste of it is what your preferences are. These colors, that's their preference. See this old vintage photo of food? I don't know if this is from how Baltimore looked back in the day, but we know that this is a vintage look. So they're trying to play off the original concept. So that might be a part of the aesthetic going forward. A lot of it can be formatted around vintage signs. Okay, like that. I like that. I already get that off top. We could use that. That can separate us from any other place in Baltimore and around the country for real. Giving it that throwback vintage diner aesthetic. You see they used the same photo here. They got all of these sauces. So what is going to be your signature aesthetic that you're going to bring to the market, to your business, and how you're going to connect that? And then the last thing is just going to be developing the strategy around the aesthetic, filling the gaps in what you noticed on social media, and then doing some of what works, and then you just tweak it to tell your own story, to add your own aesthetic to it. And by what I mean by what's working is what's working online as far as what people are responding to on social media. When it comes to food and beverage, virality is great because you need discoverability, right? This is not a high ticket item, so the more the merrier. Food is a value in play. If you really want to make money in food and beverage, you need to sell a lot. So I wouldn't say chase virality, but you want to do things that can make you discoverable, which is where the UGC campaign comes in, which is where having a great aesthetic comes in, which is where having high quality photos of your food comes in. So that's how you break it down. Those are some of the steps. Those are some of the things I did for my own business, for Good Part and Company, right? I went through, here's my story, in case you wanted to know, like, here's the story of everything I did. I told my story. I'm not scared to show up on camera. This the mission. You know, people want to really read through and get into what's going on. And then I had a lot of user generated content. I was big into my branding and aesthetic because I knew that separated me from every other juice bar. You know, a lot of other juice bars in the region and just period, they kind of lean on the holistic, natural, earthy vibes. Mine was clean, minimal, a bit of an elevated aesthetic, not luxury, but definitely premium. And so that's what I was going through. You can see how it started, right? You can see it started with the smaller plastic bottles, these printed, like I printed these. I bought the stickers and I bought one of the label makers, and boom, like people loved it. Like they love showing it off. You see the logo, all those types of stuff. And next thing you know, boom, we upgrading. Same logo, premium bottles, okay? And so that's how that went. And then we show the early days. This is a lot of behind the scenes. So this is when I first started shooting. These are even high quality photos, doing photo shoots on the juice bottles. I hated that bubble right there, but you know what? We had to get the content out. We had to show what we had. And here I am making some juice. So showing the process of creating or making your food, your recipes, or, you know, people like to see those types of things. They get into the story that way. And this is what can really, really elevate your digital presence for a food and beverage brand, or any kind of brand actually. So a lot of that behind the scenes, you see where I started 2019, right? And yeah, so those are some of the steps. This is how I build out a marketing plan and strategy for food and beverages and businesses based on the steps that I use for my previous brand. So hopefully that might be helpful to you. And if you like this video, give me a like, subscribe, leave a comment if you want to know anything more about how I go about branding a food and beverage business, or how I go about branding any kind of brand. I also had a clothing line that was kind of tied up, attached to this business. So I did a lot of merch. The merch went crazy. People liked it. But anyway, you like the video, you like the concept, you like the strategy, like this video, so I'll know to make more videos like this. And wish me luck on getting this contract. It'll be cool. It'll be fun to help grow another food and beverage brand and business here in the region. Happy New Year.